held dear, when they were forced to flee their homes in the middle of the night and many lives were lost. Since we're gathered in a public area, I think it is important to acknowledge that the traditional owners of the land on which we're meeting. I pay my respects to the elders, past and present, and I welcome our attendees here this evening. Everyone is valued. And our special guests, Julia, MP, and Geoff Lee, MP, Councillor James Shaw, see you in the crowd, there you are, and our special guests, Rena Jetty, and Raman couldn't be here, but we'll be here shortly. And from the media, I welcome Vivek Trivedi and Anuj Kulshrestha. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Sonali Rena. I am the daughter of two such people who were forced to flee their homeland on that fateful night. I want to paint a clear picture, so we all leave here today knowing exactly what happened with the Hindus of Kashmir. I would like to take you all to some of the relevant aspects of history which will allow us to have a clear understanding of what exactly happened on that night of 19th of January 1990. Just a little bit of history. There is historical evidence that dates the Kashmiri Hindus back to almost 4000 BC, having belonged to the area, that region of the world. They were the original inhabitants of the Kashmir Valley at a time when it was the ancient hub of Hindu scholars who travelled from all parts of the country, the region rather, to seek further education. Hindus became a minority following the advent and global spread of Islam and its introduction into the valley. The 700 years which have followed since 1300 AD, since the introduction of the other religion in the valley, we have seen a number of slow waves of eradication of Kashmiri Hindus from the valley. Temples were desecrated and they were forced to pay a tax called jizya for being a non-Muslim. Now, to talk about the day-to-day life of every Kashmiri Hindu, it was very, very simple. Freezing winters meant that the average day was not much more than attending work, school or university, and eating together as a family, and going to sleep thereafter. It was pretty much a very simple life. There was a focus on education because it was the only way to ensure survival when religious discrimination really put them at a great disadvantage. Without delving into the details of 1947, it became very clear following partition that loyalty to India and being peaceful and non-violent would cost Kashmiri Hindus very dearly. Tensions rose in 1989 when a widely circulated newspaper in Kashmir issued a notice from Hizbul Mujahideen which stated that Kashmiri Hindus should leave Kashmir. Approaching 1990, prominent Kashmiri Hindus and leaders and social activists were killed in broad daylight. Tika Lal Taplu, a social activist, was shot dead. Justice Nilka Ganju was shot dead and left on the side of the road. These were clear and pointed messages to the entire Hindu community, which became apparent on the night of 19th of January 1990. On that night, nothing was safe. The streets were full of mobs with weapons, guns, and chants that gave Hindus only three choices: Raliv, Jaliv, ya Galiv. To translate that means to either convert, to leave, or we perish. This chorus was backed by the chants on the megaphone from the mosques at each street corner. Hindu women were targeted. Girja Tikku was one such woman who was raped and slaughtered alive on a mill. There are still many disputes over the number of Hindus exactly that were killed. Some sources say 400 and some say 1,000. I think it is inhumane to argue over the number of deaths that occurred, because each life that was lost was dear and valuable, and the degree of terror cannot be measured by a number. The entire Hindu populace was to gather was to grapple with their existence. I cannot imagine being forced with that terrifying decision. How can you pack up your entire life's work, your ancestral heirlooms, your ancestral land? How can you leave your entire existence as you know it and flee in the middle of the night, the entire time worried for the safety of your family and children? Our community has come a long way since that night. People have rebuilt, relying upon their resources to start from zero. But history cannot forget those poor souls that were lost along the way. Rather, history cannot afford to forget these poor souls. On the land upon which these 5,000-year-old temples still serve as a reminder of our existence. That 19th of January 1990 be recognised as Kashmiri Hindu Exodus Day in Australia. We are very lucky to call Australia home. We've all worked and studied very hard to get here, where we face no religious persecution, where we can hope that we are heard and ensure that history does not forget. That's all I have to say.
I was always going to be fire when I was a kid.
Oh, you were? I'll just get one and then we can start.
request Amishi to give
Yeah, we've got a vote of thanks from Amishi, who's
So, Ajit, people would like to say
few words and then we'll say vote of thanks.
come on, Ajit.
Good evening all of you. I would like to welcome all the guests and all the participants who have come to show their solidarity here. At this point of time, without any linkage to any of the political parties, I think it will be very nice of us if he would actually mention the name of late Bal Thackeray, because he was a person who gave enlightenment to all the Kashmiri community. He ensured that Kashmiri youth actually get admissions in the engineering colleges, medical colleges, and at this time I think we should pay homage to him also, because we are linked to him. Thank you.
Of course, yeah, he did a great job. Thank you.
For coming along today, and thank you for your kind invitation today to celebrate, or to commemorate I should say, 26 years of Kashmiri Pandits being expelled from Kashmir. To be honest, I never realised before last week until I got the invitation about the plight of the Kashmiri Hindus and about their difficulties and about having to find a new home. And I think today's commemoration is held in a particularly significant site for Australians, because as we know, Parramatta and this park was part of the original settlement for Australia. And today many of you have come from overseas, many more were born here, and the smart ones were actually born here.
Thank you, Geoff.
And today we celebrate, we commemorate today at a place where Australia, modern Australia, first began. So I think it's particularly important for that. I look forward to working with the group, the Friends of the Kashmiri Pandits, in the future, and seeing what we can do. And I'm sure Julia, my colleague in State Parliament, this is beyond politics, and I think that's what we should look at. That we don't need to involve partisan things. We should actually recognise the atrocities, the displacement, the difficulties that many of you have experienced and many of your family have experienced. So I say thank you for coming along, and thank you for the organisers for coming together. And I'm sure next year will be even bigger, and perhaps we can even have a microphone.
yes, that would be great. Be good on the
work
throat.
on that. So thank you very much for your time and your kind invitation.
A Kashmiri Hindu. Words that resonate within my heart, despite the fact that I have yet to pay a visit to the land of my ancestors. Respected members of Parliament, Dr. Geoff Lee and Julia Finn, Councillor James Shaw, Mr. and Mrs. Jeffy, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm honoured to propose a vote of thanks on behalf of the Kashmiris gathered here today and around the world. I thank you all for making the time to come and join us and lighting a candle on this special occasion commemorating the 26th anniversary of Kashmiri Hindus in exile. A big thank you to Sonali for enlightening us on the history of Kashmir, Kashmiri Pandits, and how they were forced to become refugees in their own motherland. I would also like to extend a special thanks to Amit Uncle and Prerna Auntie for taking the initiative and lead to gather us all here together, not to mention the great team they put together for logistic support. Uncles and aunties, mums and dads, we couldn't have done it without you guys. I hope that this evening will remind us all of the loss that Kashmiri Hindus have suffered. The loss of their home, heritage, and worst of all, their identity. I hope that we will keep this with us until the day that Kashmiri Hindus are finally resettled into their motherland, with honour and with dignity. And to assist us with this, we look forward to working with our esteemed guests to help get this day recognised in Australia as Kashmiri Funded Exodus Day. We're so lucky to call Australia home, a place where we're able to live without fear of religious persecution. And I'm sure that that day will come when our brothers and sisters will feel the same in Kashmir. To conclude the night, I would like to recite a couplet from the famous Persian poet, Hazrat Amir Khusro, which captures the essence of Kashmir. Agar Firdos, Barwe Zameen Ast, Hameen Asto, Hameen Asto, Hameen Ast. If there is a heaven on earth, it is here. It is here. It is here.
Awesome. Thank you.